Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Mary and I give you guys an extra warm welcome. I would love it if you grabbed a snack, stayed for a while, and click the subscribe button. I would love to have you. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you more than you know. As you can tell by the title of the video, we're going to go over an eyeshadow technique. And the only reason I came up with this idea is because sometimes I get bored of doing the same eyeshadow technique, like crease, outer corner, shimmer. So I figured, let me just show you every single style that there is out there for eyeshadows. And that way, if you want to switch it up, or if you're a brand new person to makeup and want to learn how to actually create an eye look, this might help you out. So if that sounds like something you would like to see, then just go ahead and keep on watching. All right guys, like I mentioned earlier, I got the idea of, I'm going to call it a little series, and I think I'm just going to create eye looks with different eyeshadow placement. So this one, we're going to call it the traditional eyeshadow placement eye look, where you start with the transition shade and put it on the crease, and then you start with a darker shade, put it on the crease and a little bit on the outer corner, and then you go in the outer corner and deepen it up, and then you go in with shimmer, like the classic eye look. I get bored very easily. I'm a Gemini, so I switch up the techniques that I use for my eyeshadow. If you've noticed and you've been here for a while, you realized that I want to say it's been like 2 or 3 months since I switched it up, and I just figured this would be a cool concept and a cool series, especially for those who are new to makeup and are trying to figure out, how do I put eyeshadow on, you know? So today we're going to jump into the Rust palette from Melt Cosmetics. They recently had their 9-year anniversary and they had a little sale, and I decided to pick up some eyeshadow palettes that I've kind of been eyeing, and this was one of them. And as you can see, it is a very warm tone eyeshadow palette, and it is completely brand new. I have not touched this. All right, so first shade I'm jumping into is this one right here, which is called Antique. And we're going to use that as our transition shade, which is what you call the shade that kind of just makes the eyeshadow blend with the rest of the eyelid, so that it's not just harsh pigment and then your bare skin. This is a Moda Pro 430. It is a crease brush, and you for sure want to use a fluffy brush just so you can really blend it out. So like I said, I'm going to use this as my transition shade, and I'm going to put that right in the crease, and I'm going to blow it out. Now you can go as high as you want. You don't have to go super high. I usually like to go about there, and I also bring it in my inner corner. And I personally like to wing my eye looks out, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to leave it round. I also bring this shade on the lower lash line and bring it all the way in, since it is a transition shade. All right, so that is what the transition shade should look like. I started to wing this side out a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to go into the crease shade. And typically you want to go a tiny bit darker. Now it's easier to follow when it's like a brown scale, because you just go from lightest to darker, and then your darkest. So I'm going to stick with the neutral tones in this palette, or the brown shades I should say. So next one, I'm jumping into this one, which is Rust. Now disclaimer, I'm not an actual makeup artist. I'm just showing you what I do and what I learned when it comes to this eyeshadow technique. I can definitely link some makeup artists down below that I have learned a lot of the techniques that I implement in my channel. Okay, so for this step, you can use either a fluffy flat brush. This is a JH33, or you can use a fluffy thinner brush than the first one I used. This is a E40 from Sigma. I think I'm going to jump into the Sigma just because I like how this one blends a tiny bit better. So Rust, we're going to jump into that shade. And for this one, you want to keep the shade in the crease. Now you can go in as like inward as you want. I usually try to keep it here. Sometimes I do go all the way in, but for today's video, we're going to keep it right here. And then I bring it out, and I also put this in my outer corner. And you definitely want to build this shade up. So for sure, your brush and your eyeshadow are going to have a lot to do with how well this blends. And I also bring it on the lower lash line, but I think I'm going to bring it only halfway in. Okay, and this is what it's looking like. As you can tell, that crease shade is blending into the transition shade and then it's blending out. So you will go back and forth with your brushes. If I showed you exactly how long this takes, this video would be like 45 minutes long. So basically the brush that I used for the first shade, I just went afterwards and kind of blended the edges of that second dark shade. And then I did dip back into the palette and I made sure that that first transition shade is still peeking through right at the top because I don't want to lose it. Okay, now with that Morphe JH33, now we're going to go into a slightly darker shade, this one right here, which is Mar, and that's Spanish for sea. And this is like a fluffy flat brush. And I'm going to focus this mainly in the outer corner, but just the tiniest bit in the crease as well. I'm really going to layer for this eye look. I really want to show you just how beautiful it looks when you really layer. And for this one, I am going to bring it on the lower lash line, but only right in the outer corner, no more than 1/3 in. A lot of blending and just taking your time. And I lightly dipped into it. You could tell there's not too much on there. All right, now we're going to jump into the darkest shade that we're going to use today, and it's this one, and it looks like a very dark chocolate brown, wrought to the second, I believe. So I'm going to show you 3 different brushes. Honestly, it depends what you're more comfortable with. This is a reference number 14. And as you can tell, it's a small precision brush, but for some, this still might be too big. I have another one that's a tiny bit smaller. This one is the E45 by Sigma, and this one has a little point, so that also helps. And then the smallest one that I have is this Morphe M506. I think for today, let's go in with the Morphe. And I'm going to dip into that shade very lightly, and I'm going to add that literally just, can you see that? In the outer corner. It almost is like a V shape. I just dipped the tip in there. That's what she said. And right in the lower lash line, but just the tiniest bit, not too much, because I don't want too much darkness. And that's pretty much all the darkness I want. All right, and this is what that looks like. Warm tone eyeshadows are, gosh, I just feel like they look so beautiful and I'm loving. I know you're thinking I'm being extra because I literally used what, 1, 2, 3, 4 shades, I know, but this is a brand new palette and I want to dig into as many shades as possible. Okay, now come the shimmers, and as you can tell, I have 3 choices. This one, and this one. First one I'm dipping into is this shade right here, which is Ravish. I'm going to use my finger. For me personally, I prefer to use my finger than a brush. I just feel they work better, and as you could tell, it's a pretty dark, like your classical satin shimmer shadow. I'm going to put this right in the outer corner, right where that dark shade ends, because I want the transition to be smooth with the shimmer that we go in the inner corner. And you can use like a flat brush to add it. You might need to use setting spray in case it's not working well enough. That's why I like to use my fingers and I don't have to deal with any of that. And if you feel like it's going just a tiny bit too much into the matte shade, then just pick up the brush that you used, no extra product, and just kind of blend the edges and make them look nice and seamless. Okay, now that's what that's looking like. And the next shade I'm dipping into, I think I'm going to do this one just because it's a warm tone eye look and we're gonna keep it in the warm tone side. This one I feel has a tiny bit of like pink in there. So this is Tarnish. I'm going to use my index finger, and only because I feel like it's a little more pointier than my middle finger. These shimmers aren't like super metallic, so it's gonna be like a pretty classic eye look, which is nice for the video. All right, and I like to press first and then I like to swipe because I really want the blend to be even with that other shimmer shade. I don't want it to look harsh or anything. And then I like to use my pinky, and I like to add a tiny bit of the shimmer that I use for the inner corner and the lower inner corner. Yeah, like that, just to give it a tiny bit of reflection of what we have on the top. Okay, I haven't done an eye look with like the round shape in a really long time, and it's reminding me of like 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, so say you're not liking how high up you went, like by your brow bone. I'm okay with this, but just in case you are not, go with like a very light shade, one that's close to either your skin tone or maybe like an ivory like this. This is called Classic. This is a fluffy brush. It's the E35 from Sigma, and I'm tapping the excess because I don't want too much on the brush. And if you just kind of run that on the edges of like the shadow, it'll kind of erase a tiny bit some of that pigment by your like eyebrow. Can you tell the difference between this side and this side? See how I just kind of made it a little less intense? I'm gonna do it on the other side since we did it on this side. And it's like the tiniest bit, not a lot. That's only if you don't like it to look this dramatic and this high up. See how that made a tiny bit of difference? Okay, and now for the inner corner. Typically, you see a lot of people do like a shimmer inner corner. They either use the lightest shimmer in the palette that they're using or the highlighter that they're using for the day. I don't have any highlight on just yet, but I've been doing a matte inner corner. I've been watching a lot of Angelica Nyqvist, and she's inspired me. So we're gonna use that Classic shade. Hopefully it shows up with just the brush. This is like a small little rounded brush. It's the JH39, and I'm going to tap it in the inner corner. Okay, it's showing up perfect. And that's what I'm going to use to highlight. And I feel like it just kind of brightens out the eye. All right, guys, I put some mascara on. I just wanted to show you the eye look before I went in with lashes and all that other stuff. Now, if you really want to keep this eye look sultry, go with like a dark brown or even a black if you're more comfortable with black. But I personally want my eyes to look a little bit more wide just because I feel like I kind of closed them a little bit with the round shape of the eyeshadow. I don't do this shape because I feel like it just, I don't know, yeah. So I went in with this Melt Cosmetics Slick Waterline Eye Pencil in Ivory to just open up my eyes a tiny bit. Okay, so let me go ahead and put on the rest of my face, and then we can talk and end this video. All right, guys, and here is what the final eye look looks like. I did go in to these half lashes. Flare is the name of the style from the Bright Lashes. And for the lips, I went into this Morphe Matte Liquid Lip in Virgin and NYX Lip Liner in London. Oh, the highlight, I did go in the Brow Bone. I've been doing brow bone highlights since I could remember, and that's not going to change ever. I don't know, I just feel like the brow bone needs to be highlighted with shimmer. Okay, but yeah, here is the final eye look of your like classic style of eyeshadow that you can do, that you see just about everybody do, honestly. And I think it's beautiful. It gets the job done, going from your lightest to your darkest. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I know this video is not going to get a ton of views, and that's okay because that's not the reason why I'm making this video. I'm hoping that this video helps someone out, whoever is watching here. I hope it helps you out in some way, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I didn't like show you all of the blending that I did because if I did that it would take forever. Trust me, this video would be like 45 minutes long and I feel like it's already going to be long enough. All right, that pretty much concludes the video. Okay guys, well again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the video and the eye look. With that being said, I would love it if you gave this video a big thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it, and you would definitely help me out in the algorithm of hopefully bringing some new and fresh eyes to my channel. And if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you joined my small YouTube family by clicking the subscribe button. I would love to have you. All right guys, I will see you on the next video. Bye.